Hi, my name is Shannon. I am a certified yoga instructor. Today, we are going to go through different movements to help with swollen or stiff feet. Stiff or swollen feet can happen for a variety of different reasons. If you have been sitting for long periods of time, if you have been traveling, if you have eaten salty foods, if you are pregnant, lots of different reasons why the blood can kind of start to gather in the feet. So today we're going to really improve our circulation, do some movements that not only bring circulation into the toes as well as the ankles and the feet, and also work on stability and getting everything feeling really good. So when you're ready, clear a space out beside you. You can lay out your mat. I also recommend having yoga tune-up balls, or you can also use lacrosse balls or tennis balls, which we will use in our video today. And with that, we will go ahead and get started. And we're actually going to get started today on a seat. So when you're ready, go ahead, sit down. Good. Sitting up with a nice tall spine, legs out in front of you, and then just start to point and flex your feet. Good. Starting to get the blood flowing back into the ankles, into the bottoms of the feet, into the tops of the feet. You can also do the pointing and flexing of your feet when you are at the airport, even when you are seated on the airplane. It's so important to just keep the blood flowing, especially in those areas that can stay stagnant for hours and hours when you're traveling. Good. Keep your breath nice and deep here. It seems like a really simple movement, but a lot of times we don't give our feet the TLC that they deserve, and they work really hard for us. So you can incorporate these movements throughout your day to keep the blood flowing. Good. Now, bending the knees, cross your right leg over your left leg, making a nice little figure 4 shape. Good. Now take your fingers between your toes, making little toe spacers here. And this is just going to help to create a little bit of space in between the toes. You can kind of move them forward and back or in little circles here. So this is a really good one to do also if you are experiencing bunions. Good. Creating a little bit of space, a little bit of length between the toes. Nice. Stay seated up tall. Keep your breathing nice and steady. Good. And then you can release your hands and then just start to move your entire ankle in circles. So rotating the ankle joint, getting the blood kind of flowing back into that area. Nice. Now switch directions with your circles. Notice if that changes anything. You may get a little bit of cracking or popping. For the most part, that's just tension or air releasing. So that can be a good thing. Of course, if anything feels tender, you can always consult a doctor before trying out this video. Good. And then go ahead, release, uncross your legs. And then cross the opposite leg over. You can kind of help use your hands to get it there. Again, we're starting with the toe separators. So just weaving your fingers in between your toes. You can kind of use your other hand to create that space. Good. Now, if you're like me, I also happen to have really cold feet, which can be a sign of poor circulation. So noticing the temperature of your feet, you can start to move the toes forward and back or little circles, maybe even scrunching the toes, straightening them. Good. Continue breathing here. Good. And then releasing your fingers. You can rest your hands by your sides and starting to move the foot in circles. Noticing if this ankle feels more mobile, if it feels like it has more space, or if it feels a little stiffer. And switch directions with your circles. Good. Releasing tension in your body wherever you can. Good. And then gently uncrossing. Now we're going to move into a tabletop position. So coming onto all fours, extend your right leg back behind you and just start to rock forward and back gently. So you may feel the stretch all the way through your heel, through your calf, up the leg. You can keep a nice neutral neck here. Just gently rocking, rocking, rocking. Putting just a little bit of weight on the foot to help guide the stretching, to help the ankle movements go a little deeper. And then coming back to center, we'll do the other side, extending left leg out. And again, just gently rocking, noticing how the bottom of the foot feels, noticing how the heel feels, noticing how the calf feels, bringing your awareness the entire leg. Also noticing how your opposite leg and your core start to turn on here as well. Good, keep breathing. And then coming back to center. Now, coming into a kneeling position and tuck your toes here so that the bottoms of your feet get a nice stretch and your toes get a nice stretch. Good. Now we're going to use our leg muscles and our core muscles to stand all the way up. You can come forward slightly just to kind of rock your weight back. I like to bring my feet together here and then keep lifting your heels up. Reach your arms out in front. Good. So now we're working on a little stability with the ankles and the feet. And we're just like an elevator that goes from the bottom floor all the way up. Squeeze the legs together. Keep the heels lifted. And slowly come up, then lower the legs down. Good work. Now, if you have tennis balls, like I mentioned in the beginning, lacrosse balls, or yoga tune-up balls, or even like a soft dog toy or cat toy, you can use the balls to help improve the circulation in your feet as well. So grab one of your balls, place it on the ground. Now I like to stand near a wall or even a chair or a desk, a table, something to kind of allow me to not have to work so hard in the balance and instead allow me to really focus on putting the pressure on the foot. So you'll bring the foot on top of your ball and you'll just start to roll the bottom of the foot here. Good, you'll start to roll forward and back again. You can hold onto the wall. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more balanced, centric, you're welcome to take the hands in front or by your sides, balancing most of your weight on one leg. And then here's where the fun part starts to come in. So after you've started to kind of move gently forward and back, you can take the ball, start to lean on the foot with the ball, putting some pressure down, and you can kind of guide the ball forward and back till you find a pressure point that feels kind of tender. That's sort of how you know that you found an area that needs to release. There are all these areas, these meridians in the body that are kind of connected down to the feet. So when you feel a spot that feels tender, you can pause there and then really start to lean your weight into that ball. Keep breathing nice and deep here. After a few rounds of breath, really focusing in on that area, you can start to move the ball to a different standpoint. Maybe you look at the inner arch of your foot and you really start to sink down into that ball. Good. You can even kind of pulse a little bit. Good. Few breaths there. And maybe you bring the ball to the ball of the foot, allow your heel to sink down, and just ever so slightly feel that stretch along the back of your leg as you get the ball of your foot. Good. Now you can move it over to the toes, allowing the ball to kind of separate the toes a little bit. Few breaths there. And then coming back up, maybe even taking your foot in circles along with the ball. So many different movements that you can play around here with the ball. Again, really focusing on the circulation. Once you feel good and complete, I mean, honestly, I could probably spend hours doing this, but once you feel like you're pretty good and massaged out, you can start to roll your ball over to the other side. We'll do the same thing on the other foot. So just starting to roll it forward and back. Noticing how it feels. Get the blade edge of the foot, the interior of the foot. And then pausing in a spot that you feel like needs a little extra TLC. Starting to really lean your weight into that area. It might feel a little tense. It might feel like a lot of pressure. So, it's really up to you how much weight you put on that ball. If this is your first time using the balls, you can always back off, do a little bit less, and over time, you'll start to get more and more used to it. Yeah, now you start to move on maybe to a different spot that feels a little tight, a little tender today. Deep breathing really helps here. It helps to let go. It helps to release. Good. Now, kind of bringing the ball into the heel of the foot, pressing down. Moving the ball to center, pressing down. Moving the ball to the ball of the foot. I always like to pause here for a moment, feel the back of the leg and the calf opening. It's all connected. And the ball and gravity really do most of the work here. So it's a fairly passive way to get the blood flowing. Once you feel pretty complete, you can come back to rolling the ball. You can take little circles around. Now, if you accidentally kick the ball or you let it fly away, you just come back and get it. Who says that animals have to have all the fun with the balls, right? We can use them to our benefit too. Good, and once you feel complete, you can move the ball to the side and we will continue with our practice. So now that the feet are nice and warmed up and the blood is really flowing, we're going to start doing a little bit more with balance. So just to start, stay in Tadasana. We're going to lift and lower the heels with the breath. So as you inhale, lift the heels. As you exhale, lower them down. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. So here we're starting to focus on ankle stability and calf strength Also, you'll start to feel the quads turning on. Super important for us to stay stable. Good, and then planting the heels back down. Now, I want you to really visualize feeling every part of your foot touching ground, your big toes, all the way to your pinkies, the ball of your foot, and the heel of your foot. Now, I want you to take a look down at your toes, and we're going to move the toes one by one, starting with the right foot. Lift up the pinky, then lift up the fourth toe. Keep the other toes on the ground. Then the third toe, then the second toe, then the big toe. Good. Now keep that foot lifted. Lift the pinky of the opposite foot. Good. Then the fourth. It's not as easy as it looks. Then the third, then the second, then the big toe. Good. Now start to sit your hips back, coming into a chair pose, but with all 10 toes lifted. You can have your hands at the heart, or you can lift them up towards the ceiling. Your choice here. Few breaths here, feeling the feet and the legs working. Nice. One more inhale. As you exhale, slowly come up. Now that we've done our standing postures, we are going to take it actually outside to use one of my favorite techniques to help get grounded, improve circulation, improve circadian rhythm, undo the effects of traveling in an airplane by grounding. So I recommend grounding by either finding a grassy area, it could be at a park or in your backyard, or you could even ground on cement if you really had to, or I also like to really use sand at a beach. So today I'm going to go in my front yard where there's a nice patch of grass, and I'm going to use that for grounding. So when you're ready, follow me, get off the mat. We'll use a little bit of nature to help us increase the blood flow for our feet. All right, welcome back. So I have found some grass nearby. Again, you can go to a park or anywhere around that has something that you can firmly plant your feet into. And we're just going to start into Tadasana, mountain pose. So standing tall, feeling the toes on the ground, feeling the balls of the feet on the ground, feeling the heel on the ground. Good. Now start to scrunch your toes into the earth. Good. So if you're on grass, you may kind of feel the grass lifting in between the toes. So good to just kind of grip, get the circulation back flowing. Breathing deep. Good. Now we're going to start to do a little more grounding. We're just going to kind of walk around. So walking around in your space, feeling the heel hitting the ground, feeling the toes walking down on the earth. You can walk in circles or however you like, really. There's something so powerful about taking the time to ground after traveling, or just after sitting for long periods of time. It seems so simple, but yet it's so powerful. You don't have to spend a lot of time here. It could be a few minutes. Just enough time to kind of let everything release. It can be very calming. Make it a walking meditation. You can even think of some mantras to say here while you ground. The trick here is you want to be barefoot. And ideally, you want to be in nature if you can be. So, grass, sand, all very powerful tools. Good. And once you feel nice and complete, we're going to move on to our next technique, a yoga pose, legs up the wall. So, you can head back inside to your mat when you're ready. Welcome back. So hopefully now your energy as well as your body is starting to feel the positive effects. We're going to take one final pose today, Viparita Karani, also known as legs up the wall. So make sure you've got a wall that has some space. You can also even do this in bed using your bed frame. So you want to position yourself to the side of your wall or your bed frame, taking a seat. Good. Allowing your hip to come right up against the side. Then you're gently going to lean back and slide your legs up the wall. Good. Now you can place your hands in a little cactus shape by your sides. That sort of opens up the shoulders. You could also allow your hands to come down, the palms face up. Or you can rest one hand on your belly, the other hand on your heart. So, whichever variation feels most calming for you. The point here really is to allow the blood to reverse directions. So, allowing the blood to come from the feet down, kind of in the opposite direction of where we tend to spend most of our day, especially when we're seated or standing. You can always take variations of this pose. You could just simply elevate the legs, and that will still help with swollen feet. But wherever you're at, just taking a few moments to get quiet. Tuning into your breath. Closing your eyes. And considering this part to be the Shavasana of your practice. So scanning your body for any tension that you may be holding on to, and just letting it go. Softening at the eyebrows, the jaw, along the shoulders and back. Allowing the hips to be heavy, releasing tension in the backs of the legs and the feet, all the way to. And you can stay here for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And when you feel complete and ready, you start to bend the knees, allowing the feet to slide down the wall. And then allowing the feet to drop over to the side. Gently pressing yourself up and coming to a seat on your mat. And just noticing how your body feels after this practice. Noticing if your feet have more warmth to them. Noticing if the blood feels like it's less stagnant, if that pooling around the toes and the joints has started to release. You can always add in self-massage to your practice as well. And really, you can take any of these techniques that we did today, the toe dividers, the pointing and the flexing, the circles. You can do these variations standing or sitting. You can use the tune-up balls, you can use grounding, you can use legs at the wall. You can do these poses, these movements, these techniques individually throughout your day, or you can combine them all together for a longer practice like what we did in this video. So please leave me a comment below. Let me know which technique felt best for you. And I will see you again on the mat soon.